Welcome to the Happy Lawyer Project. I'm your host, Akoma Moronu, and I created this show to help lawyers find happiness in life with a law degree. Together with my guests, we provide the knowledge, skills, insight, inspiration, and encouragement you need to find your happy. About a year ago, I started to transition my lifestyle to focus more on experiences and less on the acquisition of stuff. I mean, there was a lot of reasons for this, but I felt like it was going to save me time, money, energy to really not be taking care of my stuff. And that was something I really hated about having things, was cleaning up my things, maintaining my things, keeping my things orderly. So the less stuff you have, the less time you have to spend worrying about that stuff. So one of the ways that I wanted to really integrate this into my lifestyle was by streamlining my wardrobe. I started to build a capsule wardrobe for myself and my whole family. And many of you who follow me on Instagram have asked about my thoughts on the intersection of fashion, professionalism, and happiness. So I wanted to bring someone on to have those conversations. And on today's show, I will be chatting with Estelle Winsett. She's a former attorney who transitioned into professional development, but she also has a side hustle as a fashion consultant because she's someone who's passionate about the power of clothing to transform and empower professional women. So I really hope you guys enjoy the show, and I know that you'll have more questions, so please feel free to send them to me once you've had a listen. Enjoy! Welcome back to the show, Happy Lawyers. I am super excited to be back behind the mic after a nice, relaxing vacation, and I'm also very excited to introduce today's guest because I've had so many of you come to me and ask me to talk more about how I've integrated my capsule wardrobing into my lifestyle and why I do that, and really a bigger question of how our clothes and fashion and all of that intersects with happiness and lifestyle management. So today I have on Estelle Winsett, and I'm super excited to introduce her. Hey Estelle, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. I would love if you could just start with a brief description of who it is that you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely wear a lot of hats, I would say. I am an attorney, a mom to 3 boys, director of professional development at a law firm, personal stylist, a runner, and a wife to an awesome man who also happens to be a lawyer. So I think that about describes it in a nutshell.
Oh, wow. 2 lawyers under one roof. So can you tell me a little bit about how you got from lawyer to where you are today in professional development and then launching kind of this fashion consultant business?
Absolutely. I graduated from law school in 1997, and it's been a while. And after I graduated, I went to the University of Memphis Law School, Vanderbilt undergrad, and practiced here in Memphis, where I'm from, for about 7 years. And I was a litigator. I always did civil law. And I started out doing med-mal defense and moved into labor and employment law defense. So that was really kind of the bulk of my practice for the 7 years that I practiced. And then as I was getting married, I knew that I wanted to start a family. And so I really had a hard time separating my home and work. And I knew when I wanted to start a family that I wanted to be able to be present in home with my kids. And so when I was exploring options on what I could do with my law degree, I met with a gentleman here in Memphis at the Counsel on Call office, and Counsel on Call is a legal placement office. And I was exploring with him the possibility of actually doing contract work. And it turns out that he was looking for someone to help him run the Counsel on Call office. So I kind of fell into this job as a legal recruiter, which was wonderful. I did that for about 6 years. And what I really liked about it is I learned about the business of the practice of law because I had never explored that at all as a practicing attorney, and really got familiar with what employers were looking for in trying to hire attorneys and then trying to play matchmaker and find that perfect fit. It was really fun. But after about 6 years, I've kind of, reached my limit. So I went from Counsel on Call to my alma mater, and I was the Dean of Career Services at the University of Memphis Law School, which was super fun. I did that for about 4 years, and that's really where I got into training and development. And I helped the law students find jobs and brought in a lot of speakers to explain to them really what it meant to practice law. And from there, I parlayed into my current role as Director of Professional Development for a law firm. And in this role, I do a lot of what I did at the law school, but instead of having the law students as my population, I have just the lawyers within my law firm. So it's a lot of fun.
And then how did you discover your passion for fashion? Oh, I didn't mean for it to rhyme, but we'll go with it.
It's so funny. I really discovered my passion for fashion at, really age 10. My mom would I have two older sisters, and she would take them shopping for their clothes. And I was just coming along as the youngest. And inevitably, my mom would have to fish me out of the dress room because I would have found 1,000 things to try on. And of course, the perfect outfit I had to have. So I have had an eye for fashion and shopping and wardrobes from a very young age. I've just always loved it. And, when I was right out of law school and practicing, I started as a consultant for Cabby. I don't know if you're familiar with Cabby, but it's an LA designer. And it's not sold in stores. It's only sold through stylists. And so I've done that off and on the side for years because it's just fun. You get a new seasonal wardrobe every fall and spring. And so in that role, I helped people find clothes that fit their body, that make them feel confident. I've been doing that probably for about 6 years. And then I also would find myself helping the law students when they had job interviews or had important events that they wanted help with their outfits. So it's just kind of been something I've done a long time. And of course, my friends call me like a ninja when I go. But I have one friend who told me that shopping is my superpower. So I could go into a store and within 20 minutes have a head-to-toe outfit, and usually something was on sale. But it's just been something I've enjoyed and loved for years.
And why do you think that fashion is something that has brought you happiness or that has the potential to impact the happiness of lawyers? Because I agree that it is something I find joy in, but I'd be interested in your thoughts on why it is a source of joy.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's an expression, self-expression, and you can really kind of define yourself in your clothes. And for me, I've just always had fun with it, but I've always prescribed to the look good, feel good. And if I woke up and I was in a horrible mood, or if I felt really bad, if I had a bad cold, and I would go pick out a really put together outfit, it would just transform my mood instantly. So I've always known that. And conversely, if I have felt uncomfortable, if I've been tugging at my clothes, if something didn't quite fit right, or if I just didn't feel good or confident in my clothes, then, I felt I would show up as more insecure, not assured of myself. And I've seen that with so many other women that I just feel like as smart women, a lot of times we think, appearance shouldn't matter. I'm an attorney. I passed the bar. I shouldn't have to care about how I look. But we all make judgments of other people that when you meet someone, and you might as well be purposeful in the appearance that you're putting out there, because if you're not, someone's going to make a judgment. You might as well have some influence in that and put it in a positive light. So that's kind of my thinking on it. And I think that as a powerful woman, I think when you can put an outfit together and just feel really good, I can't tell you how many people, especially when I first started selling Cabby and just showing people how, you don't have to just sell with whatever you found at the local store that didn't look that great, but it fit, sort of. If you actually find something that you feel good in, it just transforms everything.
I'm definitely guilty of buying things because they're on sale, even though they don't fit. I don't know why something on sale that I don't need feels better than something that looks fantastic that isn't on sale.
Well, I do that too, so don't misunderstand me. I think when people get in trouble, it's if they only buy something if it's on sale. If they walk into a store beeline for the sale and just say, well, that'll work, that's good enough, it's all right, it's not too bad, and then they get it. And, they're robbing themselves of joy because when they get home and they have it's just okay, paired with another, it's not too bad, and then they look in the mirror and feel horrible about themselves.
I think that you really hit the nail on the head for me when you use the word intentional. I really changed the way I thought about my clothes and what I put on my body when I started to transition into kind of the phase that I'm in now, where I'm really trying to be much more intentional with the way I spend my money, with the way I present myself, with the way I spend my time. And in doing that, that's kind of how I transitioned into my capsule wardrobe. Was I was like, I have to get dressed every day. I like clothes. I'm going to spend money on them. So why don't I do it with some thought, as opposed to what was my previous just kind of, I did a lot of retail therapy where I would just frantically buy all these things, and just there would be this high that came with it. And I'd get so excited when they were 'cause I always shop online, so they come in the mail and I'm so excited and I wear everything like twice and then I'm back again shopping for new things.
Yes.
And it just wasn't that it didn't have like any real intentionality around it. And so I've been really trying to change for the better and have a more grown-up approach towards the way I dress myself. With that in mind, what do you think are kind of the mistakes or misconceptions that you see a lot of the lawyers you work with have or suffer from?
Well, I think we just hit the nail on the head on with regard to intentionality. You can get into this habit of buying something because it's the new trend or buying something because it makes you happy, but not thinking about, now, what does this pair back with in my closet? And is this something that I can wear more than one way? And, is it a loud print that really is only going to go well with a certain type of pant or skirt, things like that? And if you're intentional, then you're always going to have some staples that you can mix and match with some fun prints and things like that. But otherwise, what happens is if you go out and just kind of haphazardly shop for things that grab your attention at the time, number one, you're probably going to end up finding that you buy a lot of the same thing.
Yep.
I can't tell you, people are like, you know what? I have 20 black glasses. Obviously, I like that. And the problem is, then you keep buying things you like, and then your closet gets full, and then you got to get dressed in the morning, and you don't have anything to wear. You can't wear 20 black tops. You need something to go with that. So, if you have basic core pieces in place, then you can mix things in, and that's what I think the whole point of a capsule wardrobe is. And I agree with you, too, about buying higher quality. If you're intentional and make sure that your staple pieces are high-quality items, then you can mix and match some trends in there or some other colors. But when you buy really high-quality basic staples, like a pencil skirt or a black trouser or something like that are classic, that aren't going to go out of style, then, you have the building blocks of your wardrobe, and then you can have fun things that you add in with that.
When you talk about staples, do you think that there are staples that every woman should have, or do you think that every woman should determine what her staples are?
That's a great question. I think that there are certain staples that every woman should have. Now, as far as the particular silhouette, I think that depends on your body shape. And for an example, I think every woman needs a black skirt. Some women, and a lot of women, can wear black pencil skirts, but others need an A-line skirt, because if it's too straight, then it may not look quite as appropriate. If with certain body shapes, they might need more of an A-line shape. And so I think knowing your body shape is really important in how you style yourself. But there are certain things that I think you need, as far as like a black dress, a neutral, like a trench coat, a black blazer. I mean, there's certain things that I think every woman should have. And when I say should, I don't think there are any hard and fast rules. But having those in your closet can help you make professional outfits very quickly and feel good and confident in your skin.
I think that that's great advice. And would you say that in your experience, and this is just my own wonderings, litigators and transactional or corporate lawyers have very different needs? Because I would think that litigators, and I know nothing about litigation as a transactional lawyer, but I assume that they need suits, whereas like I haven't worn a suit since my last interview.
I definitely think that there's a little bit of a difference in dress code for litigators and transactional lawyers. In my own firm, I see that. I mean, most of my transactional lawyers are behind the desk a lot of the time, and they need to look professional, but they don't need to necessarily have a power look. Whereas our litigators, if they're going into court or they're going to take a deposition and are going to be paired against a really tough opposing counsel, I think having a power look is huge. And it's funny that you said suit. I do think, as a general rule, every woman should have a power suit, but I don't think that we all have to wear suits all the time, every day. I think we can mix and match. I think we can wear nice dresses with blazers. I think you don't have to have the traditional suit that we always were told in law school you had to wear every day. I think you can still look powerful in a way that's more authentic to you. If you like, a lot of women prefer to wear dresses. I mean, you can find some awesome tailored dresses that are going to be powerful, but not necessarily your classic suit.
I'm a huge fan of a pencil dress, so that's kind of my go-to look. And now here in Texas, I tend to have a very, I started on Wall Street, so my wardrobe still has a very New York Wall Street tint to it, which I think makes me slightly overdressed, but it's what makes me feel like a lawyer, so I wear it. And
I think as a general rule of thumb, you really can't be too overdressed unless you're going somewhere super casual. I mean, you're always going to feel better being a little bit overdressed than being a little underdressed.
I agree. That's kind of one of the rules of thumb that I've lived by since I've become a lawyer. And to be honest, part of it is that I tend to look really young. And if I'm not dressed like the lawyer, for better or for worse, that's a whole nother conversation. Sometimes it can be hard.
I totally understand that.
To be taken
I had
seriously.
That same issue. Yeah, I was so excited when I actually had to wear glasses. I never had to wear glasses until after law school. And I'm telling you what, it made me look about 5 years older. And I was like, I'll take anything I can get.
I actually wear computer glasses because they make me look older. I wear them when I use my computer anyway, but I wear them all the time.
Definitely. No, I love it. Of course, to me, that's another accessory, right? I mean, then you can I have amazing frames, and I have a whole wardrobe of frames. My husband's like, really, how many glasses do you need? But it's another style accessory.
That's so funny. And so speaking of back a little bit about rules of thumb that you think lawyers should live by, or ones that we can kind of dismiss at this point. I mean, I think that we get a lot of them in law school, kind of as we're going through that interview process. And, career services provides a list of things we should know, but they don't all turn out to be necessary through your whole career. Are there any particular that stick out? Yeah.
Yeah. I only wear gray, black, or navy suits. No, that's not what you have to be stuck with. Can wear color. I think that kind of goes to your own personality. I think there's something, I love a good red power suit or dress. I think that whatever you wear, you got to feel confident in that you can pull it off. But, I don't think you have to wear drab, neutral colors all the time. And we definitely were told that in law school. There are tons of them. I mean, you can't wear white after Labor Day. No, you can. I think one of the funniest, and this is still somewhat controversial, believe it or not, but it's the whole, are pantyhose required? And I'm from the South. I'm in Memphis. I mean, and like I said, I was a litigator. So there are certain rural courthouses where you want to check the local people out and see if judges there require you wear pantyhose. But I think as a general rule, you don't have to do that. I don't know what your thoughts on that, but that's a big one. And I get that question all the time. Have your readers asked you about that before?
Yeah, no, that is a big one. And I think that obviously this is definitely one where the litigators have very strong opinions, whereas transaction lawyers kind of forget it's even an issue. And I remember it being an issue even when we did interviews, because it was right in the summer and we do our interviews on campus and it's, 100-degree heat index in Times Square in New York. And I'm traipsing across Times Square in pantyhose the first day of interviews. And I was like, I am not doing this again. And I was like, any firm that doesn't hire me because I'm not wearing pantyhose is probably not going to be a great fit. And I just can't.
I did work at career services. I would say the safe rule when you're not meeting someone and you check it out, see how that firm does. It's probably a safe side, but you're one of those rules you can pretty much throw out down the road is the pantyhose rule. At least that's my opinion. But again, if you are litigating in some rural place where you've got this old timey judge who thinks that all women need to wear hose, you want to do some investigating. But in general, I think that's one we could put to bed.
And do you have strong feelings about pantsuits for women?
Oh, gosh. To me, I think they're fine. Again, that's another one that if you've got some old fuddy-duddy who thinks that women need to be wearing a skirt, then, I guess try to find that out. I mean, you certainly don't want to jeopardize your client because you failed to follow some, standard of clothing. But I think pantsuits are just fine.
All right, you heard it here first, guys. Pantsuits are just fine, unless, there's evidence to the contrary that could affect your client. Then we need to use your judgment there.
Definitely.
But how do you advise your clients to start figuring out their own style? Because I remember I used to wear a lot of pantsuits, and then I realized that I don't like pants. As a grown-up, I don't like pants. I've always preferred dresses. As a child, I preferred dresses. I think that as I don't know, maybe it was trying to be feminist. I felt like I needed to break out of skirts and dresses. I don't know what it was. But now you will never find me wearing pants to work. But it took me a while to get to that. And how would you advise people to start to think about developing their own style? Because I know that when you start, you tend to just follow those rules that were handed down to you, kind of look around and see what other people do. What else should people be doing?
Well, I think looking around is a really good starting point. I always advise clients, look in magazines, look at Pinterest, find, if you're on Pinterest, it's super easy to just pin looks. I mean, if you just kind of scroll through and find professional outfits and just start pinning what you like, and don't give it a whole lot of thought, because if you do, then you might totally overanalyze yourself. But a lot of times I'll tell clients, pin something and just real quickly put a note of what in particular strikes you in that photo. If it's, I really like those shoes, I love the print on the skirt, I really like that purse, and just quickly start doing that. And then, later on, go back and look at all the ones you've pinned, and are there any trends? Is there any commonality, whether it's colors, whether it's style? And that can help you learn kind of what you gravitate toward. And if you find a celebrity that you like, by all means, follow them. Because, and granted, you're not going to be wearing ball gowns. Get that. A lot of the celebrities are, at the, award ceremonies. But if you can find a look and vibe that you like, if you follow that celebrity, they all have personal stylists. So they're getting styled head to toe. And as trends change and as seasons change, you can kind of get a feel for what they're wearing and then try that out for yourself if it's a vibe that you like. And then you start to kind of pick and choose things you like from this person and that person. So eventually you just know what your style is.
And how much, I guess, weight should you put in things like, and I know I keep going back to rules of thumb, because the thing I think some people struggle with is what they feel good in and what they think they're supposed to wear. And whether that's, I think that, pencil skirts look really good, but but then the magazines say they don't fit my body type, but I feel comfortable in them, but maybe it's not appropriate because it doesn't suit my shape. How do you kind of navigate those waters?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to go with what you feel good in. If you think you look great in pencil skirts, but you look in some chart and it says for your shape that you shouldn't wear them, then disregard the chart. But I think that's, that's a starting point, and it can be helpful for people when they have no clue where to start. But I don't think that you have to just be religious with those types of things. I think that one thing that I think is really helpful is just to experiment, and I know, like, for me, shopping is fun and not everyone thinks it's fun. But, let's say you're looking for a black skirt. Go into a store and, grab 4 different styles of black skirts off the rack, go in the dressing room and try them all on, even though you're like, oh, God, this is not me. I would never wear this in a million years. Just humor me, try it, and just see it. If you can, start to look at putting on things that you might not think that you would like, and then just take an objective look in the mirror and see, okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this isn't so bad, because you really can't tell about things on a hanger. You've got to put it on a body. And then so, you can do the same thing with pants. I mean, you can try wide leg pants. You can try straighter pants. Figure out, go explore, try different things on your body and see how it looks in the mirror. Take a friend. And so I think it's a combination of how it looks and how you feel. And over time, you start to develop what your go-to shapes are and your go-to style. But it definitely is trial and error. And, it can evolve over time, too. You're not going to be stagnant into one sort of style. My style's evolved over time.
That's a great transition into kind of, you've touched on the idea of trends before and not just jumping onto new trends. But how do people think about trends? Because obviously you have these staples you've spent a lot of money on, you've invested in. But as, the fashion magazines tell us, all the things we bought 2 weeks ago are now out of style. So now we're desperately trying to catch back up. How much should people, and I don't know if you think about it in this way, I think about it this way just because I have a specific capsule. So certain of my pieces are kind of revolving, whereas others are very long-term pieces. But how should people think about how much of their wardrobe should be trends, or how much of their money should be spent on trends?
I would say, well, first of all, it's personal preference. I mean, sometimes you may just want to keep trends for weekends, and, you may want to make your trends be things that you get at, lower end stores that are still fun, like H&M, and not spend a whole lot of money knowing that if they go out of style, who cares? But I would say it's a general rule that you probably want about, 70% of your wardrobe to be staples that are not going to go out of style. And again, it kind of goes back to that theory that we were talking about earlier. If you just kind of gravitate towards, oh, I want that, I like that, and buying that without thinking about what else you have in your wardrobe, then you're not going to be able to put together cohesive outfits, because you have to have a top, you have to have a bottom. And if you really want to have an outfit, you really need a third piece, some kind of topper, whether it is jewelry, scarf, or a blazer. So you got to make sure that you have building blocks. I think a good way to try out trends is in accessories. So jewelry, right now, there's so much fun. Bright jewelry, there's tons of different, one of the rules that you talked about, like fashion rules, where it used to be never mix metals. You can mix metals. Now people wear gold, silver, everything in between and above. So I think jewelry is a great place to try out trends. I think scarves, accessories, purses. But, you know, you could, if you find a top you love, I mean, I have to admit, I'm a fan of the cold shoulder top, you know, and I know that's not going to be around forever, but I think it's super fun. And so I have some cold shoulder tops. So part of that is personal preference. But as far as, you don't want 80% of your outfit to be, or your wardrobe to be trends, because then you're going to have a really hard time putting outfits together. So
earlier you mentioned a red suit, which made me immediately think of Alicia from The Good Wife.
Yes, totally.
And while I have an expert on, I would be interested in knowing, because not being a litigator and most law shows being about litigation, I can watch them without actually knowing how realistic they are, because I have no idea. So I can still enjoy them, whereas I imagine a litigator would be like, this is terrible. Do you have any TV lawyers that you think are fashion icons, or who you think have really good style?
I have to say, I love Alicia from The Good Wife. I think she's awesome, and I really do like her style. Other TV characters I love, Olivia Pope from Scandal, fabulous. Claire Underwood, she's not an attorney, but I love her style. So, you know, I kind of like a streamlined, powerful look in my clothing, and I think those ladies really have that. And, well, of course, Olivia Pope, she has some kind of fun in her wardrobe too, but everything, you talked about some, what you were asking earlier about having classic pieces. I mean, she has some very classic staples that she mixes in different colors. So if you have like a neutral base, you can add in a couple colors, and that's kind of what capsule wardrobing is all about. I know you were asking about that earlier, so I didn't mean to jump ahead, but I think those three TV characters would be my favorite when it comes to women's style.
No, Olivia Pope, I think, is definitely, you would not be alone in that one. She, and her coats especially, that was always the thing I never understood about, you know, after living in New York. You watch all these TV shows and people have these amazing coats, and I'm like, but you have tiny apartments. Where do you put all your coats?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. I now know that it's not possible. So it took 8 years of New York living for me to put the two together. We've talked a little bit, as you've mentioned, and touched a little bit on capsule wardrobing, but for those who may not know what it is or haven't heard me describe it before, how would you describe capsule wardrobing?
I would describe capsule wardrobing as having a defined number of clothing items that you can mix and match to make multiple outfits. Now, there are tons of people out there that get even more specific, whereas 13 items, it's 35 items, it's 60, you know, I mean, people have lots of different formulas and theories, but the general rule is that you have clothes in your closet that you can mix and match several ways and not look like you're wearing the same thing every day, but not have an overly stuffed closet. And what do people propose, you know, are the benefits or reasons for having a capsule wardrobe? Well, I think ease and simplicity is probably the number one reason. I know you had mentioned travel capsules. I know you do that a lot, and I love that too because, first of all, it's easy. You can, you know, if you're wearing black pants on the first day on a business trip and the third day, they're not going to know that's the same pair of black pants if you style it completely differently with something else. But then you don't have to pack two pairs of black pants. So there's simplicity, and then there is saving space. So you save space in your closet. If you don't have overstuffed things, then you can actually see what you have, and it's easier in the morning to go in and figure out what you want to wear. And same thing with traveling. Now I pretty much only travel with the carry-on because I can't handle the baggage claim and waiting and all that kind of stuff. And when you have a travel capsule, you can fit everything you need in a carry-on luggage, and you're good to go. So I think space, time, efficiency. And then, of course, there are a lot of minimalists who, just as a matter of principle, don't want to have a whole lot of clothes. There are a lot of people who are concerned about the environment and all that. So I think there are a lot of different reasons. I think when it comes down to it, that another great benefit of a capsule wardrobe is that you can spend more money on higher quality classic pieces that aren't going to go out of style, and they're going to last longer. And then when you have less clothes, you can spend more on the individual pieces, and then you can kind of rotate in new pieces each season.
I completely agree, and I love capsuling for all of those reasons. And I would add that not only can you spend more money on the pieces, but because you have a smaller wardrobe, you get more wear from those pieces. I think one of the things that
for wear.
Yeah, I used to really be worried because I'd buy these things that I thought I loved, and as you mentioned, I hadn't really put much thought into, and so I kind of vaguely thought it went with other things I owned, but then would take it home and realize it only really went with one other pair of pants. But how many times am I going to wear that exact outfit?
Right. So true.
And so I've found that capsuling does give me I've always been nervous about spending too much money on clothes. I grew up kind of with a mother who did not spend money on clothing. And so it's still hard for me. But in the last couple of years, I've really been able to start to invest and, have been more concerned about fast fashion and how, that contributes to the environmental issues that you were mentioning. So investing in sustainable pieces, investing in higher quality pieces, supporting small businesses. I am trying to be more intentional in the impact I make with my money and with my choices. And so I love all of that. But then to the travel point, when I go on work trips, to know that everything matches and that I have lots of options, it's so, and I do it both for work trips and for vacation. My whole family, we all have capsules. I actually started it with my kids first, and people always ask why my whole we're always coordinated, like all of our clothing all of the time. They think that we're always like ready for a family photo shoot, and we kind of always are, but that's because I only buy clothes in like 4 colors for my whole family.
Definitely. No, it works. Then you don't have to worry about does this match.
Again, you could just be the type of person who doesn't care about these types of things, and that would also solve the problem. But this allows me to give my kids the free reign to pick their own clothes because I never have to worry it won't match. And again, if you're the type of mom who just doesn't care, that's probably easier. But I can't change who I am. So this was an easy solution to that problem, was to make everything match and then they can get free reign in the wardrobe.
Definitely.
So for something like a travel capsule, how would you, I don't know if there's a quick way to describe to people how you would put something like that together?
Yeah, I would. So I guess in general, when you're talking about a capsule, I'm thinking about, you want to have 2 pairs of bottoms, whether that's a skirt and a pair of pants. You want to have probably 3 tops and then a couple of toppers. So that could be a jacket, that could be a cardigan. And I've actually got a checklist that I put together because I've worked with so many clients when it comes to business travel and trying to put this together. But, in the guide, I kind of walk through this. But basically, you're just going to pull out your staple pieces. And so, your black pencil skirt, your gray, wide leg trousers, and then you get your 2 toppers. So, a black blazer or, some kind of a cardigan. I think a cardigan's always nice because you can wear it on the plane. It's a little more casual, but you could then, dress it up with some dress pants. And then you just go in your closet and get kind of where you can have a little bit more variety, I think, is in your blouses. So, again, I think you're right about the color scheme. You want to stay in the same color palette, but then you can have, a neutral solid and some kind of a print that adds in a new color, and then a pair of dark denim. And then you can mix and match. You can go from day to evening by throwing on a pair of jeans, changing out your earrings, and swapping out your, Lady Boss bag for a clutch, things like that. So if you have all these things, I know I'm kind of throwing a lot out there, but the way I look at it is you want to get your core pieces, and then let's say you hang up your skirt. Well, take each shirt and put it over the skirt, and then put the jacket over that. Take a picture. That's one look. Then change the shirt out for another one you have. Put on some parent with dark denim instead of the skirt. Take a picture. There's a casual outfit. And just work with the pieces you have. But I highly recommend that people take photos and have a photo album for their business trip on their phone. And when they get there, They can see all the different outfits they pair with the items that they have in their carry-on. And that way there are no more decisions. They've been made. You know they look good, and you can relax and enjoy your trip.
I love that. I'm a huge fan of efficiencies and only making decisions once. So I love the idea of having already decided what all the outfits are, and then you just get to put them on once you get there.
Definitely. I look at it front-loading the work. You know, it takes a little bit of time to do that. But then if you think about how much time you spend in the closet looking at your clothes and trying to figure out what to wear, you're saving so much time. Because I do that on a regular basis, not even when I'm going out of town. I like to do my weekly planning, and then I've got it figured out in my head and it's done.
I love that. I had never thought of that. I guess now that I think about it, I used to plan my weekly outfits back before I had children and had time. Well, also back before I had a capsule wardrobe, to be fair. Now I don't have to plan my clothing because everything goes together. So I just kind of rotate through my outfits. I'm trying to be cognizant of the time. So I just want to touch on a few more things before I let you go. I could talk about fashion forever, actually. I've recently...
Me too.
You know, now especially that I have this capsule wardrobe, every piece is so important. Like whenever anything comes in, something has to go out in order to maintain the size of my capsule. And one of the things I was notoriously bad at, and I think in general, and I don't know if it's your household, but I was never taught how to get rid of.
Right.
It was never brought to my attention that you need to get rid of things regularly in order for your home to not become a hoarder's den. I move a lot, and so every time I move, I do a big purge, but I shouldn't have to move to another state in order to get rid of things that no longer fit.
Right.
And I understand that this is something you work on with your clients, and that you, in fact, are running a closet cleanse this August. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the importance of purging your closet and kind of steps or tips that you give to people for how often they should do that and how they should go about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good idea to do a closet cleanse at least 2 times a year, maybe even every season. And here's the thing, and we all do it, you go out and buy stuff, and if you just get more than you need, you go into your closet and all of a sudden you can't even find, you're like, I know I had this black shirt that I got that was super cute that, it was this store. And if your closet is so stuffed that you can't even find a specific item that you're looking for, you have a problem. So the whole point of doing a purge, or some people call it editing your closet, is to go in and find those pieces that maybe when you bought them, you thought were going to be, something that you would cherish forever, but you realize that it's still hanging with the tags and been in there for 2 years. It's got to go. And what's happening is when you have these clothes in your closet that you aren't wearing, they are taking the space for clothes that you do want to wear, and you can't find them because everything is stuffed in there. So you need to go through, and I have a whole process that I take my clients through, and I am doing a curated closet challenge coming up. It's a week-long challenge, and we're going to do it in August. And it's super fun. My focus really is on women attorneys. I am one. That's who I work with the most. But I help other professional women too. But basically, I think it's fun to go in a challenge setting because you're going to be with other like-minded women. You can post your, similar concerns and fears, and just take it bite-sized. So I'll walk through one thing that you can do in 15 minutes one day to your closet. Then the next day, another 15-minute assignment, so that you're gradually organizing your closet and getting rid of things that either don't fit or damaged or they don't serve you in some way. So when you do that, then you're able to walk in. It's almost like, whenever I had to write a big brief at work, I was a litigator, I would have to have my desk completely cleared in order to, it's the same kind of idea with your closet. You want it to be clean, organized, then you can find your outfits. And then in the morning, it's not just this complete, utter chaos.
I love the idea of that, but I did get a little bit of hives just thinking about it. It's so strange because I find it the hardest to get rid of the things at the extreme. The things I've never worn, I find really hard to get rid of for some reason, and I know it has to do with the sunk cost, and I've already spent money on it, so I feel like I should get at least one wear out of it. And then the stuff I wear all the time that clearly should not be seen by other human eyes.
Yes. Well, I have a process that I walk people through, and there are emotional ties to clothes. There could be something that your grandmother gave you, but you've never worn it. But for sentimental value, it's taking up space in your closet, or I spent money on it, so I can't get rid of it. So I gradually walk people through it. One of the things that I recommend highly is that you have a friend when you go through for your closet cleanse. There are little steps that we do kind of building up to the actual cleanse so it's not so overwhelming. But have a friend, and when I say have a friend, and not your friend that says, oh, that's so cute, and everything you have on. No. You need your friend that's like, that's awful, take that off your body, you'll never wear that, dump it. You need that person who can go in with a critical eye and tell you the truth. And, here's my thinking. If there's something that you just cannot bear to get rid of, it's like, I know I don't wear it, but I just love it. Put a maybe stack. And then what I tell my clients is put the maybes in a box on the top of a shelf in the closet. And you can revisit that in a couple of months. Well, if it's out of sight, out of mind, and you find that's been in there for like 6 months, don't even open it, just get rid of it. There's a way to do it where you can, and if you end up finding yourself, I got to go back to that box because I got to find this blouse, then that's something that you really want. But if you don't do that, then let it go.
I think that not opening the box is key.
Yes. Out of sight, out of mind, and then it can just go away.
And it's so funny. I thought you were going to say that everyone really needs is a glass of wine. And then you said a friend. Yeah. And I thought, well, it's almost the same thing.
Oh, no. Wine definitely needs to be included. No. Wine and the friend. That was step number 2.
Fantastic.
Wine or mimosa, whatever your cocktail is. Or if you don't drink coffee, but I love my wine, and I think that makes it go a lot more smoothly.
Well, I see that we have a lot in common then. What is the best way for people to learn more about you, more about the challenge, or get in touch with you?
I've got a website, and I will send you all that information, but it's just my name. So it's www.estellewinsett.com. And I do have a link that I'll be sending you. So if people want to click on it, they could download a free travel capsule checklist. I alluded to that a little bit earlier, but it's a guide that just kind of walks you through what to do when you're getting ready to pack for a work trip. And what I recommend people do is print it out and put it in your suitcase. And that way, next time you've got to go on a trip, you've got your guide right there. And you don't have to go searching through your email like, wait a minute, I know someone sent me something about how to pack for a trip. Just go ahead and print it out and put it in there. But I'll get that to you. And then my challenge is going to be starting in August. And I've got people that are kind of on a wait list right now. So basically just kind of I'm getting some emails of people who are interested. And then when the registration opens, I will let them know that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a part of this project and for chatting with me today. It's been so great to hear your story. And before I let you go, I'm going to ask you one last question. And that is, what do you believe separates happy lawyers from those lawyers who continue to struggle to find happiness in life with a law degree?
That's a great question. I think there are a couple of things that separate those happy lawyers. I think number one is self-confidence, because I think comparison is the thief of joy. And when you start comparing yourself to other people, that can cause you to be unhappy and insecure. And if you can find that confidence, then, you can be happy for yourself and for others. And I think the second thing is my personal favorite is to find ties outside the office, and preferably from non-lawyers. My husband and I always joke that we love our non-lawyer friends. I think just broadening your circle and being around other people that you have common interest in and something outside of the law really helps you be more well-rounded and have a richer life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Absolutely. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for listening today. I'm always so happy to have you here. Before you go, I just have a quick little favor to ask. If you haven't done so already, I'd love for you to head on over to Apple Podcast to leave a rating and review. As you may know, ratings and reviews help others find the show, which helps me grow the show. And growing the show gives me the leverage I need to keep getting amazing guests on the show for you guys. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's already taken the time to show their support for the show and encourage others to do the same. Thanks a lot, you guys, and until next time.